Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. A while ago, I think I asked a question somewhere online if people thought it would be a good idea if I did a Copic marker review type thing, and one or two people said no, they've been done, and a lot of people said yes and stuff like that. And I kind of then just decided, you know what, they're right. A lot of people have done Copic marker reviews. So I'll not bother doing it. But lately, I've been getting a lot of markers to review. And I've done quite a bit of marker reviews on my channel. And it seems to be that the vast majority of artists who deal with alcohol-based markers kind of like hold Copic as the standard. Okay, so that's the highest standard that you can get with regards to alcohol-based markers, and anything else after Copic is either a comparison, whether it be below or similar to Copic markers. And because of the prices of Copic markers, everybody who wants to use alcohol-based markers is on the lookout for an alternative to Copic markers that is much cheaper. So I decided then that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to have this video, put it up there so that people, when they watch some of my other marker reviews, they will understand what I'm talking about and they can reference between the two videos. Okay, so let's get into the actual marker themselves. Then we'll talk a little bit about the paper, and then we'll talk a little bit about the actual color coding, because I know a lot of people don't understand the color coding of Copic markers. I know a lot of people do, but some people don't. So for this review, there'll be certain images coming up on your screen as well. I'll be showing you those as the time goes on as well. So as you can see here, I've got 4 items. I've got this marker here, which is called the Copic Sketch. This one is called the Copic Original. This is the Copic Chow, just a round barrel. And then these are the Copic Refills, as you can see there now. So what are the differences between these markers? So let's move the original out of the way and look at these two here. The Copic Chow, or sorry, the Copic Sketch and the Copic Chow. So both of them have brush nibs. Okay, they've both got brush nibs, and they've both got chisel nibs. Essentially, they're exactly the same. The difference is the barrel shapes, the ink size, and the color indication. So as you can see here, the Copic Sketch is a wider barrel. It's kind of oval shaped. The Copic Chow is round and slightly smaller. But so it is widely considered that there's more ink inside the sketch. Another thing that a lot of people really love about the sketch markers is when you're placing your markers down on the Copic Sketch markers, you have all the information you need about the marker on the lid or the cap, whatever you want to call it. With the Copic Sketch marker as well and the Copic Chow, if you have a look here, there's like a little band, and that indicates that that's the brush side of the marker. So you can see there's also these little icons which indicate which side is the brush and which side is the chisel. On the Copic Chow, there's no indication on the lids. The lids are just lids. But they do have the indication on the side here, so Y08, the pigment name here as well, acid yellow. So essentially they're exactly the same. There are more colors available in the sketch line, although I think they're trying to bring the colors in line exactly the same with the Chow. I think it's not too, they're not too far apart. But I'll explain the colors in a second. The next one is the Copic Original. So as you can see here, this is a square barrel, Very much like the sketch in terms of the pigment number, pigment code, and name being on both sides of the caps. Now this one doesn't have a brush nib, it has like a bullet nib, which is excellent for getting into little tight areas, that type of thing, doing line work, lettering, that type of thing. And the other side is the chisel nib. So the chisel nibs on all three of them is exactly the same type of chisel. That's just the main difference. So you have those three markers, and this is the range that you have. There is also another set of markers that Copic have just recently brought out. It's called the Copic Wide. You'll see an image of it coming up now. Now again, I think they've only got something like 38 colors or something like that. I'll have it over on the written review. I haven't researched that particular side of it. But it's a small amount of number in the Copic Wide. And the Copic Wide is excellent for doing backgrounds. If you've got background colors that you want to do, you can do it like that. Now, the other things that Copic sell and put out there are multi-liners. They've got a great range of multi-liners. They also have a spray system, a bit like an aerosol spray. You hook it all up, you can get it in a kit form, you hook it all up, you use your markers, and it sprays the ink from the markers onto the paper that you're using. Very, very good, the effects that you can get with it are amazing. A lot of artists use them, and it's a cheap alternative to like spray painting, that type of thing. They also do things like opaque white, ink that you can get. Comes with a little brush and basically just allows you to increase your highlights, that type of thing. The other thing is the refills. So here are the refills. You just, again, a bit like the sketch and the original, the pigment name and color code is on the top. You unscrew the lid, and it's just like a reservoir. It's just, you drip the ink out. Now there's different ways in which you can fill your markers. On the side here of the refill as well, there's kind of like a measuring system, and when you hold this up to the light, you can see how much you've got left in there. It's a good idea to shake it as well before you actually do it. But the different ways in which to refill your Copic marker, and they've got colors for every, the refills come in every color, so it doesn't matter which marker you have, you'll be able to refill it. Some people take the lids off and just drip it onto the chisel tip, because it's got a little bit more surface for the ink to soak into and go into the barrel. Or a faster way of doing it is Copic sell these little tweezers that you can get. You gently pull out the nib, which means then you've got a hole here that you can just pour the ink into, drop the ink down into, and then you're good to go. Now also as well, Copic have blender pens, which are basically just alcohol in all three formats, so sketch, chow, and original. And also you can easily buy replacement nibs, whether it's brush nib for the Copic chow and the Copic sketch, or whether it's the bullet nib for the Copic original. So in terms of the actual amount of colors that are available, and a lot of people see this as a pro, some people see it as a con. I will go through this with you in a little bit. There's 358 colors in total. Copic have cut that down into like 5 sets of 72. Set A, B, C, D, and E. I'll have the prices over on the Art Gear Guide for all the different sets that are available, and the individuals and different places that you can go and get them. There's a great place here in the UK. You can get the Copic markers quite cheap. I'll have that all over and links down below and over on the written review of this. But like I say, 358 colors. So that's a lot of colors, which is great. But there are some colors that are almost identical to each other, and I will display that to you in just a little bit. Okay, so I can't stress how important it is that you get good paper for any alcohol-based marker. It allows you, the paper is the tool that gives you the blended ability. Now, a lot of people use, there's lots of different papers out there. You don't, the ones I'm going to show you are just the ones I use. You can go and have a look. There's loads more out there. So there's this letter set one. Now, this was the first type of paper I ever picked up whenever I started getting into alcohol markers. Actually, the first paper I used was printer paper. And when I used the markers and it kind of like bled all out, I was kind of like, oh, I don't understand what all the hype is about these markers, because it's useless. You can't color in within the lines. It keeps bleeding out and all the rest of it. That's why I say paper is so important. So there's this letter set bleed proof marker pad. Now, the paper on this allows you to blend really nice. My only criticism of it is that it's this flimsy paper. So when I first started doing drawings on this, you know, if you were doing a drawing for somebody or you wanted to do something to put up on your wall, it's just like printer paper, with except it's got this coating on it that allows the markers to blend well. It's good maybe for practicing and that type of thing, practicing your blending in, because you don't want to do blending in your best paper. But I wouldn't do your best work with these papers. Not if you're going to be selling it, especially to other people, and you might want to sell the original. The other paper is this one here. This is Strathmore 500 series Bristol plate. This is a really smooth surface. This is my favorite paper for color pencil work and marker and color pencil work. The only issue with this paper is 100% cotton, so there is a tendency for the marker to absorb quite quickly on this paper, which means then that the blending becomes quite difficult. The reason why if I'm going to do like a piece that I really want to keep and like it, the reason why I use this paper is because if I'm going to do a drawing like that, I'm going to use colored pencils as well. So the pencils allow me to get a better blend and stuff like that, a more heightened blend. Whereas if I was just going to use just the markers to create a piece of artwork, I wouldn't necessarily just use this paper, because you would be able to see the blend lines a little bit easier if you looked closely. Like I say, that's only just down to the fact that it's 100% cotton, and it absorbs the ink slightly quicker than other papers. Now, the paper that I use most of all, if I'm going to do just marker work, is this one here, which is it's Frisk. Now, the reason why I use this is because I've used a few other different papers. This one is really inexpensive, and it's Bristol board, and I can't see. I've used other papers and they're either the same or not as good as. And because it's so cheap, that's why I use it. Now, this is an A3 size pad, but you can get them in A5 and A4 as well. So I'll have links for all this paper over on the Art Gear Guide as well. So don't worry about links if you're looking to get it. So I've got a piece of this Frisk here. It's Bristol board. I'm just going to show you some blend and that type of thing. But first of all, before I get into that, I want to show you the color code system. Okay, so now there'll be an image coming up on the screen here which displays this better than just me talking. So here you have the cap, and on the cap of the sketch or the original, you have the color name, which is at the bottom there. Then you have the color family, so whether it be B for blue or G for green, or some of the other ones are RV for red violet. Some of them are YG for yellow green, which is obviously a slightly more yellowy greeny color. Then the other ones are BG, which is blue green. I'll have a list of the color families over on the Art Gear Guide on the written review. So if you want to see those color families, the entirety of the color families, that's what it is. But that's what the first initial means on the Copic marker. Okay, so as you can see, with the cap that you have in front. So the first initial on this one is G, so that's green. The pigment name is bright parrot green. Then you've got the night. It looks like 19, but it's not. It's separate. So the 1, the first digit, refers to the saturation of the color, and the second number refers to the brightness. So the range of these numbers, so the first range of the saturation will range from 0 to 9, with 0 being more saturated and 9 being less saturated, so more of a washed out color. Now I will show you this visually in a second. The second number is the brightness, so 0 meaning the lighter number, or lighter color, and 9 being darker. Okay, so let me show you. So here I have 3 colors. So B95, B97, and B99. Because with alcohol markers, the whole premise behind these markers is blending. And they say to you to blend in color in groups of at least 3 to get a nice blend, but you can do more. And what Copic recommend is that with these numbers, so these are all blue numbers, they're all in the same saturation, so 9, 9, and 9, but the brightness goes from 5 to 7 to 9. So that's a gentle incline, and that will give you a nice blend. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this is the 95. Sorry, let me move that up a bit. Okay, so this is the 95. And you've got your brush marker. Then you would go in with your 97. Preferably before it dries out. See the way I'm doing that kind of feathered? That allows you to, when you're coming back in with your second color, or your third color, whatever it is, to blend the 2 colors in properly. And then the last one is B99. So this is the darker color, and you can see here how that is. And then you would come back in again with B97, bring it in, and then finally B95, and that would be your blend. Now, that's not a great example, but I'm kind of like contorted over this camera doing this. So that's kind of the recommendation of it. So now I'm going to illustrate to you that the numbers aren't just, so in this case, you've got G17 and G19, okay? So if the numbers were 17 and 19 and not the way I've just explained them, you would expect as the color went up, 20, 23, 24, 25, those colors would get darker, but that's not the case. So the next number up I have here is G24, and you can automatically see that color is much lighter than these 2 colors here, but it's a higher number if you look at the numbers as 17, 18, and 19. But when you understand the Copic code, then it makes more sense. So in the system, this number would be down here somewhere. Sorry, just let me move these across. This number would be down here somewhere, okay? Because then you're going 17 or 17, 19, and then you would come back down to G00, or G00 would be up at the top here. Then you've got G20 and so on. So 2 is the saturation number of this next line of colors, and the 4 is the brightness. So the next one up, G26, say, would be slightly darker, and so on. And that's how the Copic color system works. Okay, so it's not a strict and hard fast rule that you've got to keep within the limits that Copic have down for you in terms of the color code. So I've got two colors here. They're both from different families, which is crazy to even think that you're going to be able to blend those properly. But you can still do it. You could still create a blend with these because they're both blues. One is a blue and the other one is a blue green. So I'll show you here, and you'll see that it's not an excellent blend, but it is. They are two colors that you could blend together. You can see there that that blue is completely different. And so there you go. Two colors from different families, but the blend is a doable blend. It's something that you could work with, you could use. Okay, so the only issue I have with the Copic markers is, like I said, there's 350, I think I said it was, colors. And the thing about that is some of the colors are so similar. So there is a YouTuber and blogger who has, I've got her name down below in the description with the link as well to her website. Her name's Sandy Alanuk. I'm probably butchering that surname, but she's come out with the Hex Chart, and I'm sure everybody knows what the Hex Chart is by now. If you don't, I'll have a link to it down below. I've asked Sandy if it's okay to create the link, and she has agreed it's okay. So I'll be showing you some images of the Hex Chart here, but you're not going to be able to see the full Hex Chart because obviously if I showed it to you, you'd be able to scan it and get it for free, and that's not fair because Sandy has created this herself. But if you take a look here, okay, so I'm showing you some of the reds, some of the red colors in the group here, and if you look at like R89, R59, and RV69, the three colors over on the left hand side as you're looking at it, they're so similar. You would have to have an incredibly keen eye not to discover that they're the different color. Even if you look at R46, R29, and RV29, again, those colors look very, very similar. Likewise with kind of like the earth tones and the yellow reds, those tones there, the YR00, YR61, and E95, different color families, but they're very, very similar. Same with the greens here as well. So if you look at the YG03, YG23, and YG25, even alongside the YG5, YG6, and YG7, they're all very, very similar colors. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're an artist and you want to get into Copic markers, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It is expensive. Again, the prices will be over on the Art Gear Guide for the individual pens, the different types of pens that you can get, all the different things that I mentioned at the beginning of the video as well as different sets. I think off the top of my head, for a 72 set of Copic sketch markers, you're looking at about £379. So that's a lot of money for 72 colours. But of the full range of colours that is available, the 358 colours that are available, I personally would say that you don't need to have all 358 colours. Unless you're someone like me who is like obsessed with collecting and having the entire collection. But there's no real need for me to have the entire collection. Of the Copic markers that I have at the minute, you can see an image coming up here. I've got I think it's 164 markers I have within the Copic family. And I think that's possibly enough for me to do the types of drawings that I do. But I would like to get the entire set, and all I do is I buy maybe 1 or 2 markers each month and just add it to the collection. May not need them. I just look at my hex chart, see the colors that I don't have, buy 2 of them, and that's it. But for other people, you know, it's not necessary. Another thing is, with the Copic Chow and the Copic Sketch, as I explained to you earlier on, let me just zoom out here. With the Copic Chow and the Copic Sketch, they're exactly the same marker. The brush tips are exactly the same. The chisel tips are exactly the same. And the only difference is the level of ink that it takes. And like I said, the information that's on the cap. Now, if that's not a big deal to you, there's no reason why you can't get and work with the Copic Chows. They were the first ones I got, and they're like £2 something a marker, and these ones here are in and about the range of £5 or £6, sometimes £7 for one marker. But I'll have all the accurate prices over on the Art Gear Guide and links to where you can get the pens. So for artists just starting out, the Copic Chow is a great alternative to start out with. Much cheaper, going to give you exactly the same results, and that's it. And you know, ultimately at the end of the day, when the Copic Sketch runs out or the Copic Chow runs out, you're going to go and buy one of these in any case, okay? And at that point, you've got 25ml of ink. At that point, the size of the barrel doesn't matter, because you're still going to put 25ml of ink into this barrel or that barrel. Doesn't matter. And it's not like the barrels are going to run out in 5 minutes or anything. It's not like it's an inconvenience. These pens last a long time, especially when you buy the refills. So there is that as well. Okay, so that's my review of the Copic marker pens, the marker system, so to speak. I'll have some artwork, show you the different artwork that you can create with them as well. And I'll have some links to some speed drawings that I've done using Copic markers as well, again, to demonstrate the actual markers. But the main reason I wanted to do this video was so that when I'm doing videos showing people that there are cheaper alternatives out there that you're going to be able to work well with, then you'll be able to reference what I'm saying against what I've already shown you here for the Copic marker system. There's no doubt about it. These Copic markers are beautiful markers to use. I'm not saying that they're not, but they are expensive, especially if you are of the mindset that you want to stick with just the Copic sketch markers. A lot of people just prefer the feel of the sketch marker as well, which is the oval one. A lot of people just prefer it. They also, another fundamental thing with any alcohol-based marker, the best way to store these is kind of like leave them lying down, putting them in jars like this, up kind of like that. The ink tends to kind of run away from whatever nib is facing down. That will absorb a lot of the ink, and the one that's facing up will soon dry out because the ink has just run away from it. If you leave them flat down, that's the best way to store them, which is where the genius comes in from the Copic sketch, because when you've got them all laid down, like I'm showing you some images here, you can see the numbers and the colors and all the rest of it, and it's easy to select them. It's easy to help you with your blending and all the rest of it. That's really about it. Now, this wasn't a teaching you how to blend video or anything like that. If you want me to do something like that, to show you how to blend with alcohol markers, I'll do it, and I'll put it up in a separate video. But this was just about the Copic marker sketch, or the Copic marker system, how to use the color system, because like I say, a lot of people thought it was like, you know, BG21, BG22, BG23, but it's not. It's BG22, BG23, that type of thing. It's important that you remember that, so that you're not thinking as the number looks, so to speak. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope it's helped anybody that's maybe interested in alcohol markers, wants to go out and perhaps get into Copic markers. I hope this has helped you understand a little bit more about them. And like I said, all the prices for everything I've mentioned will be over on the Art Gear Guide, as well as links to the papers that I showed you as well, and some of the other items that I discussed that Copic also sell. Thank you very much for watching this review, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Don't forget, if you've liked this, like the video, share it. That helps the channel out an awful lot. And if you're not already subscribed, it's entirely up to you. If you subscribe, then you'll get a notification every time a new video goes out. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. As soon as I do a video, I post it all out on those as well, so that you can get wind of the video being released. All the best, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.